Good morning, Dr. Andrew McLean. Thank you for joining me to have a quick chat about your professional and academic contribution to science.
Thank you.
Thank you. I understand you have a PhD in equine cognition and learning. You are also a previous EA coach, a level 2. You're a horse trainer and you're a renowned international speaker. Also, many people wouldn't know that you're a winner of the highest Australian Science Award, the Eureka Prize of Science. So that's an amazing contribution to Australia. And you established your Australian Equine Behaviour Centre in around 1994. You're an author of 7 best-selling books, one of them, or some of them, including Elephant Training and Behaviour and Conservation Studies as well. What a broad portfolio you have. You're also a publisher of 50 now peer-reviewed academic journals, and you're a co-author of Equitation Science, so welcome.
Thank you very much.
A couple of questions that I'd like to ask you, and glean some of your knowledge, and particularly around the fact that EA is participating in a behaviour safety and welfare study. So when we look at what constitutes equitation science and get it right in our horse training and methods, how does this improve handler, rider and driver safety?
Well, I think first of all, it's really important to recognise that equitation science is not some sort of separate area of science. It really is a broad multidisciplinary area that encapsulates many areas of knowledge, and it's basically a way of us defining and measuring what we do know about horses. And there's so much research that has gone on, and it doesn't in any way deny what good horsemen do, but more likely what it does is that explains it in a different kind of a way, and that helps guide us into doing things that are better for horses and also more effective, because the two go well together. If we align our training, because training and learning are the same thing, if we align our training of horses with their general behaviours, that we understand, and their learning abilities, we're going to do the best by them in terms of our outcomes, but also better welfare. Because confusion and not being able to relate to horses in a way that's effective, and even anthropomorphism, which is a kind of a heavy cloak that surrounds all of our interactions, that for most people, in the way they interact with horses, there's a very strong anthropomorphic element. So if we get it right for horses, we're going to make the horses will better welfare, and that will make it a lot safer for us too, because the accident rate is it's surprisingly high. It's something like one serious injury for every 350 hours of contact. So we can do a lot better.
And so with that concept of equitation science, Andrew, I know a lot of people may not grasp that, but what elements does that include? I know you've talked about the behaviour of the horse. What else does it include? Like, how do we measure it? Is it learning? Tell me a little bit more about what equitation science gathers that can help us in that field of welfare and understanding our horses.
Yeah, so that's when I said earlier, it's a multidisciplinary area. It's everything from learning, cognition, but biomechanics and rider biomechanics. It's about how we get it absolutely right as we can for horses, because interactions with horses are they are probably the most complex of all of our interactions with any species, especially when we ride. Because what we do on the horse's back, we're a living being. We move about. If we move absolutely perfectly with the horse, which is a very difficult thing to do, then there won't be any kind of other white noise in the background. And then what we do with our reins and legs in the way we pressure and release, getting that right is just so important for horses. And it's a very sort of difficult communication system, and that's why it is so difficult and sometimes obscure for horses. And so many of the behavior problems that we see, when people will say the horse is naughty or is playing up or doing this or that, it's really much more likely that we get it wrong. We just press the wrong buttons, or the right buttons at the wrong time, or we do too many signals at once. There's quite a range of things that we can get wrong, but it's possible with equitation science to basically distill it all and work out, well, what are the most basic things that we need to get right first, and then we build upon that, and it can become quite complex in that way. So that really helps so much in terms of safety. I think we can definitely make our interactions with horses much safer.
Yeah, good point. And not just expecting horses are dangerous and knowing our contribution to this relationship. So great understanding of what equitation science does. So horse welfare, as we know, is often a hot topic for equestrians, and including our community and our social license to operate. So how do we achieve, in your opinion, and maintain best practice horse welfare in today's modern and competitive society?
Well, you see, I think also, and this is another area on the multi-pointed star of equitation science, what we've also got to recognise is that the horse has some basic needs that are not readily understood by people. For example, being a grazer, its foraging needs are really strong, and it's not just that it wants to eat hay sometimes, it's nice for it and it's good for its nutrition. This is even beyond nutrition. The horse has a very strong drive, an internal genetically predisposed drive to chew and munch for around 13 hours a day. And if we deprive that, the horse can become more internally stressed, and that can elicit stereotypical behaviours, like especially oral ones, like wood chewing and wind sucking and those kinds of things. And people often don't realise that that connection. I mean, I think it's something I didn't realise either. It's somewhat obscure. Also, the horse has strong needs for not only exercise but also socialisation, and yet it's the best people think they can do is to put the horse in a very expensive stable with gold knobs and very clean straw, and that is clean straw is really nice. It's good. It's good in healthy conditions, perhaps in a stable. But socialisation is a really more important thing, that they can not only see each other but they can also touch each other, and that's, I think, a new outcome in recent years that we need to really discuss and think about when we design stables, that we can give them some choices about being able to access other horses socially, even if it's just to touch each other on the nose, or to, even better still, to scratch each other. They're vital for the horse's internal world. So there's a lot of management effects that we can achieve as well for the betterment of horses. And that when we get those wrong, all of those things build up to a certain level of stress that can make the horse more likely to give us problems that we humans see as problems, but for the horse it's really just expressing that it really doesn't fit in terribly well, and it therefore may be more likely to have an accident and or to be dangerous.
And be upset. No, that's really interesting. So when we think about the research project that EA is doing within the EBARC, what do you see the benefit for our EA members participating in this equine behaviour and safety welfare study and using this validated questionnaire EBARC? What do you see the value to our members in participating?
I think it's the most profoundly important area repository for research to really get it right for horses, to see what people are doing. It enables people to compare their horses with others as well. You see, the biggest problem with equine research has nearly always been that it's expensive research to do, and often the numbers are low. But with eBark, it's possible to have such a giant pool of research if everybody contributes, because it'll enable us all to do better for our horses, and to, there'll be I guess, with so much more knowledge about horses, there will be so many more variables that we can pluck that will help researchers in the future know, where to go, what needs to be done, so we can do a better job for horses. Because there's no doubt that social license is an important part of all of this too. That where the world sees what we do, and
yes,
there's a certain community, and there's community expectations about how we deal with animals. And if we can do the very best we can with our horses and the use of animals for leisure and sport, it's a way of actually maintaining them too, and maintaining it for the future, if that we do the very best that we can. And this kind of research will really help horses out a lot. I think it's I can't see any better future for horse welfare than that, gleaning that kind of knowledge. And this is really a world first for Australia. So we've got a few of them
pretty exciting
in this equitation science field, and it's another one. It's so valuable.
Yeah, well, thank you. It sounds to me like it's a real win-win for the horse, and the win-win for equestrian members as well. So, look, your time and talking about this, Andrew, and explaining it has been wonderful, and your contribution, I know, worldwide is highly commended, and your works in animal behaviour and cognition and training. So thank you so much for your time. Keep up all your good work, and appreciate you, explaining a few things about equitation science and the importance of research. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.